This is me 6 years ago, trying to get back to my first love after resenting it for the pain it caused and leaving to pursue my second love, music. 6 a.m., early mornings, long days in the gym, trying to get ready for a pro opportunity that eluded me for years. But this effort wasn't always the case for me. Not consistently and not at the right times at least, which I'll explain. We can't turn back the hands of time. And I'm of the belief that you can't escape destiny. In the words of the great Jay-Z, you can try to change, but that's just the top layer. Man, you was who you was before you got here. Who I was supposed to be within the game is a teacher, an example of what can happen to talent when the right ingredients aren't added to it. Sometimes the best teachers are the ones that took the wrong path and can now advise you in what you're doing to help you avoid the same misdirection. What's up, guys? Just wanted to interrupt for a sec and introduce you to a few new opportunities I'd like you to be a part of. First off, the new Patreon page. Now, I'm not one to ask for anything without giving in return, so if you'd like extra content as well as ad-free videos that drops before it does on YouTube, maybe this is something of interest to you. There's 3 tiers. Tier 1 offers ad-free stunted growth videos, early access to those, and also workout videos to help all you young hoopers not have your growth stunted. Tier 2 offers that, plus private counseling with me through video chat. And Tier 3, you get all that plus access to my live streams where we can talk basketball or pretty much whatever you'd like. There, I can help personally guide you and shed light on what's going on in today's world. You can also get access to my music. Would love to share that with you, so feel free to consider that tier or whichever interests you more. Also, I'd like to introduce you to the new music channel. The first video drops today as well, so should be there as soon as you're done with this one. I'll be doing the exact same thing there, where I break down music artists and what happened to their career and where I think they went wrong and what ultimately stunted their growth. First up, King Von, a young guy that had it all and lost his life too soon. So make sure you visit the Stunted Growth Music channel as well and follow me at Stunted Growth Music on IG. Appreciate you guys for everything. I know you've waited for this story. Please sit back and take everything in. I know it's long, but I promise you'll get something out of it by the end. Once again, visit my Patreon page and show your support, and also subscribe to my new Stunted Growth Music channel as well. Links below. Today's feature is a guy that didn't make it to the NBA for reasons he'll explain, but had the talent and opportunity to do so. The thing about opportunity is that when you miss it, for the most part, you never get a second chance. The thing about talent is without a mixture of hard work, it always loses opportunity. But that's the thing about life. You'll be given tons more. Opportunity, that is. Packaged differently, but can lead to the same end goal lying deep within you. God knows best. What you want may not be what you need. What you're natural at may not be your destiny. My destiny wasn't to make it to the NBA, but to help those whose destiny can be. Let's talk about how John Clark, a kid from Freeport, Bahamas, found opportunity, lost it, then made some of his own. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Ash, get it, man.
All right, so many people want to know my story, and they always ask me, well, Jay, why you never made it to the NBA? Or how can you talk about guys that didn't achieve what they were supposed to achieve or didn't make the NBA altogether if you never made the NBA, right? So my answer to that is, you got to understand, and this is something that I didn't learn until I was a little older. You got to understand that life is not only about making it in a specific thing. Now, getting to the end of a journey is not really what it's about. Because a lot of people, they get to the end and you see they commit suicide, You see they lose all their money. You see they have 6, 7, 8 baby mothers. And you see all this negative things happen to them. They start drinking, they end up on drugs. Of course, not everyone. Some people retire and they live a great life. But when you focus on the end point of the journey, that's when you always lose, when you get to the end. I had to learn to focus on the actual journey. And I didn't learn that until I did not make the NBA. So when I was young, just like a lot of kids, you have dreams of making it to the NBA. I used to watch the NBA draft every year, and that was my goal, you know? But then things happen, and you for some reason that doesn't happen. And guess what you got to do? You got to focus on a different goal. That's what you're going to have to learn how to do, or you're going to fall behind. So what I learned when I started to refocus myself is to focus on the journey, to enjoy the journey, enjoy the long nights, the hard days of trying to make something. And the reason why I didn't make it to the NBA mainly is because the NBA was not for me. The NBA was not what I was supposed to use my time doing. I'm a teacher. I've always been a teacher. I've always been a person that could show you how to do it, even though I could do it as well, but showing you how to do it and pushing you to get it right has always been a special talent of mine. So that just wasn't in my destiny. But if you want a more simplified answer, stunt number one for me, I would have to say lack of guidance. Now, I hate to blame anyone or anything else for my failures, but I figure if I use that for other features, I can use it for myself as well, right? So when I was growing up, my mom and dad, they didn't really care about basketball. My mom, she was a Michael Jordan fan, a Chicago Bulls fan, but that was the extent of it. She didn't come to a lot of my games. My father, he was into martial arts. Well, my stepfather, he was into martial arts, and he worked really hard, so he didn't have time to focus on any of my games. But I do credit him for giving me my first basketball, and that's how it all started. So when I was younger, I was on my own, you know. My friends played basketball, so obviously that's what I would attach myself to. And at that time, I wanted to be like Allen Iverson, so much so that I prayed nights that I stay as short as I was, because in the neighborhood, everyone was like, man, who is this little guy? He's so short, but he's nice. And I used to walk back home like, man, I hope I stay this size forever, you know? Thank God that didn't happen. And I grew to be at least 6'3". Allen Iverson being my favorite player, I wanted to be like him so bad. So I used to work, man, in high school, I worked so hard. I used to sneak outside the house because I wasn't that kid whose mother let them just roam free all hours of the night, at least until I was a certain age, you know? So I would sneak outside, man. I was like the best at sneaking outside. Like I would crack the door so soft, like nobody would hear me. I would leave it cracked, and then I would walk to the basketball court, and I would just work on my game. And I knew nobody else was working, because in the Bahamas, it's very small, you know? So if someone else is doing something, you're gonna know. I know in my neighborhood, I was the only guy doing what I was doing. So that hard work eventually led me to becoming one of the best players in Freeport, Bahamas by my senior year, and actually earning a Division I scholarship. Now, I don't know any player from the Bahamas before me, of course, that had attained a Division I scholarship. None of my friends had did it. None of the guys that went to my school before me had did it. Everyone had junior college scholarships, NAIAs, whatever. But I was the first one to be able to get a Division I scholarship. And the way that happened was Liberty University, they came to my school and they held a camp. The reason they came there was because of one of my friends, one of my best friends to this day. He's still one of my good friends. They came there to see him. He was built like a college player already. He had super hops. So they heard a lot about him and they wanted to see him up close, so they held a camp. So I get to the camp, my best friend's not there. So the camp gets to going, and you have Coach Randy Dutton, Coach Chuck Martin. We're going through drills, we're doing our thing in the camp, and Coach Chuck Martin, he looks over at me and I'm going hard, you know what I mean? Just because I practice every day, you know, like I've done these drills by myself every night, sneaking out the house. So we're doing little dribbling drills, you know, from the baseline to half court, do like one move, in and out, crossover, whatever. So Chuck Martin sees me because I'm excelling. All the other kids are fumbling the ball, whatever, and I'm just like full sweat, going hard, and I see Chuck Martin watching me, and I start going even harder. So he calls Randy Dutton over, like, hey, check this kid out. So they both just start watching me, you know? So then after a while, we start doing a different drill where we would have to pump fake, one dribble, hop step into a layup finish. I was dunking that. I was from the three-point line, pump fake, one dribble, hop step, finish. I was slamming that. So at this time, they're like, oh, like, you know, their eyes are wide open at this point. So the next day comes, second day comes, my friend does show up, but he shows up late. And I show it wasn't a fluke. We started playing 5-on-5. Nobody could stay in front of me. Like, that's the thing about destiny. It's like you can't stop it, because this day was probably one of the best days I've ever played, right? So I'm going, I'm killing. And by that day, by the end of that day, they offered me a scholarship right there. When I got to Liberty University, being away from my family, being away from my parents, being away from what I was used to, I met some friends from the Bahamas there. And I mean, they were doing their thing, you know, they had nice cars, big house, they were making money in certain kind of ways. And I gravitated to that. I gravitated to being around them. And for some reason, they and the basketball team never really got along, right? So I had to choose a side. I chose that side. And I didn't have any guidance. None of my friends were telling me, hey, man, you need to focus. You need to stay in the gym. Like, I didn't understand I could go to the NBA from there, you know? I just knew that I did something crazy. So it's going to just happen again. Like, when I want to go to the NBA and my time is done, it's going to happen. I wasn't thinking about maybe being one and done, two and done, going to the NBA anymore. I had already made it to being free. I could move around when I wanted to, no parents to tell me anything, but then that hurt me. I started not putting in the effort. I wasn't going in the gym anymore. I wasn't working out. My coaches kind of left me by the wayside. No coach ever sat me down and said, hey, you have a special opportunity here. You need to stay in the gym, or pull me aside like, hey man, I'm gonna work with you, you know? And I was talented. I could dribble, I could shoot, I was left-handed, I could jump, but no one ever sat me down and said like, hey, this, that, and the next, and let me know what's going on, you know? And I'm not blaming anyone for that, because in hindsight, that was just destiny. That was destiny, and I'm so glad that happened, and I'll tell you why next. My second stunt was because I lost focus. Now that kind of plays right into stunt number one, not having that guidance, not having anyone to tell me like, hey man, like you're messing up, like you really have a chance to do something here, and you know, like you're not doing it, you're not taking advantage of it. I lost focus, man. Like I said, when I was in high school, I worked so hard to get where I got. No one had ever done what I did. And then when I got there and had so much freedom, and I was just moving around, doing my thing outside of basketball, basketball just wasn't important to me anymore. Although it was in my head, I didn't have the focus. I just lost focus. And it's so weird because if you know me today and you know my real life today, you know I'm focused on everything I do, you know? I have a lot going on and I'm focused and I work hard. And that was like, I don't even know who that person was, you know? And that's another thing about God. That's another thing about destiny is you just can't fight it, you know? And I'm not blaming that at all. Like it falls all on me. I don't regret anything. Trust me. So I lost my focus. I stopped working out. I stopped really caring about trying to start. And as you see now, like there's no film of me at Liberty. There's no film of me in college. One, that was 20 years ago, you know. Two, there's I didn't get in the game much. I didn't even care. There'd be some games, man, where I couldn't wait for that to be over, you know? Because I knew like I had this chick I wanted to see or something, or somebody was flying in town and I wanted to do this and party and whatever. And I was like basketball was almost in the way. And it's weird. I know it's weird for me to say that, man. You know, but it does hurt, man. It does hurt. It breaks my heart that I thought that way. But I was so immature. I was so out of focus. And nobody, not even myself, was there to say, this is what you got and this is how you're fucking up. So I just continued down that path. And then after 2 years at Liberty, my coaches ended up, we won the Big South Conference the first year. And then the second year, my coaches ended up getting fired, right? So it was weird because we won the championship the first year and then the next year they got fired. So everybody was up out of there, you know what I'm saying? All the junior transfers, they were leaving, they were done, you know. Some guys decided they wanted to stay. And me, I'm a sophomore at this point. I'm like, man, I'm out of here, you know, like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I wanted to stay and meet any new coaches or whatever like that. So I decided to bounce. And also I wasn't getting playing time there. So I was thinking, man, maybe I should go to a lower level, you know? So I decided to go to an NAIA school out in San Diego, California called Point Loma Nazarene University. I came in there, was doing my thing. Still, I'm not as focused as I was in high school. I'm still not putting in the work that I should have, but it's a lower level. So I'm starting and I'm doing my thing. At ESPN, we played against San Diego State one day, Brandon Heath at the time, and I was doing my thing, man. I don't know where that film is, but I was playing good. I think I had like 20 points, 10 rebounds, and ESPN wrote an article about me. So I was doing my thing. I was doing good, but at the same time, I wasn't putting in the work also, you know? So then I wound up getting injured that first season. I sprained my ankle really bad. So in that time of me sitting out, my team is good, you know? So they're doing their thing. And I returned, and upon my return, I wasn't as aggressive anymore just because I didn't want to step on any toes. Like I said, they were still good. A lot of Division I transfers came to that school at the time. And I wasn't as aggressive toward the end of the season. Had a mediocre season. I mean, you know, like to my standards, that was a shit season. And then the following season, because I wasn't putting in the work again, had another shit season. You know what I mean? So I didn't care. I really did not care. I knew how talented I was. So I was like, you know what, man? F college. I'm just going to go overseas. I didn't understand how this thing works. You know, like, trust me, nobody was in my corner telling me anything. No coach, no friend, no family, nothing. This is just how I viewed it. So I'm like, man, even if I got to just fly overseas and find a team, I'm going to show them I'm good enough. I'm going to get paid to play basketball. F college, season ends. I have no offers to go play anywhere overseas, all because I lost focus for those 4 years in college and I didn't put in the work it took to get me anywhere. And I just kept falling levels to the point where now I was graduated and I had no professional offers at all. My third stunt, funny enough, was resume. Resume. Now, let me tell you how that word is so important, okay? Because I didn't have the guidance to let me know what I should be doing, and I didn't have the self-guidance to guide myself, like Troy Bell, right? He said something to me when I interviewed him, and he said that he came into college with a mindset of, I want to be the best. And I admired that, man. He didn't know how important that was when he said that to me. And I'll never forget it, because that was a mindset I did not have coming into college. And I'm like, you're so lucky that you were thinking like that. And he said that how he didn't want to go out, he didn't want to do anything until people knew him. Or he didn't want to go to the club until he can get in free just because people knew him. When you're the basketball player and you're the star, they're going to let you in every club in the city, And he didn't want to go out until he could do that. Not have to stand in line and all that. So that made him stay in the gym and work hard. And I admired that. I wish I was thinking like that. Trust me, man. Trust me. So anyway, because I didn't have the self-guidance or outside guidance, because I lost focus, I didn't put in the work ethic, and I didn't build a strong resume. When I left college, I refocused. I'm telling you, I'm talking about I was in the gym every morning, evening, afternoon. It was all working out, all basketball, and I got so good. So good. I was never able to jump off one foot and dunk. I was dunking left hand, right hand. This all after I graduated. I moved back to a city called Columbia, Missouri, and I met a friend there, and he and I just worked every day, all day. It was all about basketball. Our focus was trying to get on a basketball team, right? So I became what I should have become in college. Finally, my game was catching up to what it should have been, but it was too late. I was already, at the time, I was 23 years old. Because I graduated in May at 22, and then I turned 23 in October, right? So at 23 years old, the next year, that summer, I went to a camp. I went to a D-League camp. They had these D-League tryout camps. So I went to this one in Atlanta. And I was balling. There's 200 people there. They only gave out 10 contracts, right? I was one of the 10 that got a contract from the D-League at that time. So now I'm thinking man, I made it. I'm still young. I'm calling my mom on the phone Ma, I made it. I made it, da-da-da. I'm so excited, not really understanding what the process entailed. So in June, there's the camp. And then in November, they're holding a draft. So I'm excited. I'm working my hardest, not knowing that in that span, they're going to forget what you did at the camp. They're going to really forget what they saw. Not a lot of people were filming. I don't remember them filming, coaches filming or anything like that. I just remember them watching you. And if enough of them talked about you, one of the coaches told me your name kept coming up during the tryouts. And that's why we gave you the contract. But in that span from June to November of them thinking about players they want, thinking about names that kept coming up. They go and they look at your resume and see what you did in college. So when they start to see what you did in college, that hurts you in so many ways. Okay, you're not averaging enough anything. That's one. Two, this kind of shows me that your work ethic is lacking. And that's one thing you don't want them to believe about you, that you don't work hard. Like, then, and it was right at the time though. But right then, at the moment of me getting that contract, and at the moment after college, I was working hard. Like, this was the real me. I was refocused. Long story short, I think it's like 10 rounds in the draft. The D-League draft, 10 rounds, right? I'm watching every round, every name go. And I didn't get drafted. They didn't call my name at all. That was the first time as an adult that I cried. I cried, man. Like, I sat on the floor with my head between my legs, hands over my head, and I broke down, man, and I cried so hard. Because now October came again, so I turned 24. So now I'm thinking, man, I'm 24. This is my final chance, you know? So I cried so hard. And my girl at the time, she was trying to console me and shit. Pushed her off, you know what I'm saying? Ran out the house. I just went for a walk, man. I couldn't believe it. Because like there were people that got a contract or were at the camp, and I remembered them, and I was killing him. How he get an invite to a training camp and I didn't? You know, I just knew all they needed to do was see me. In the interviews, team interviews, that's what I was saying. Like, hey man, like I know my resume isn't up to par, but you just need to see me play. You just need to invite me to your camp, and it didn't work. So I really feel like they missed out on a really talented player at that point, right? So my resume ended up coming back to really hurt me, because had I gotten into the D-League that way, I really feel like I would have been one of the best players, one of the best point guards in the D-League that year. I guarantee you. So my resume was my third and final stunt. But that's not where the story ends. That's actually where the story begins. So I continue to work hard. I was down for like a year. I was down, like angry at the world, you know. I was down for the next two or 3 years, I would say. And in that span, I started rapping. I was like, F basketball. Like this was like my first love that broke my heart like this. So I was like, F this, I'm going to start doing something else. I started rapping. I've always been good at telling stories. I've always been a creative. I could create anything, you know, like I love creating. So I started rapping, and I started to make some waves. I started to get better and better and better. And I stayed in a city called Santa Barbara, California. So the news magazine there, they wrote an article about one of my albums or one of my mixtapes or whatever. I was number one in that city. I was really making waves, you know what I'm saying? But rap was never as comfortable for me as basketball. It was just, I was good at creating. I loved being in the studio and doing that kind of thing, but I didn't take well to performing. I don't know if it's something that it takes time and you have to get better at it. But it's not like I was nervous or anything. I just didn't like it. I just didn't look forward to that part of it, you know? I just wanted to make music and put it out there and hear what people feel about it. I never cared about going to a show. I never liked all that hoopla. all that like waiting backstage, all that anxiousness, all that trying to build a fan base. I was like, man, fuck all that shit. I just love being in the studio. I love putting out music, creating the artwork for it, mixing it, mastering it, editing the videos. I did all that for myself. And I loved that. I enjoyed that. But all the hoopla about building a fan base, performing in front of fucking 10 people, 5 of them is your friends and family. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that part of it. I did that for a few years, you know, just as a hobby, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I was playing like semi-pro in California too. And then one of my coaches, we had a showcase, and I played out of my mind, kind of like high school. I hit like 3 or 4 half-court shots that day. And this coach was like, hey man, I got a job in Japan. What do you think? And I decided to act on it. And I left California and I came here to Japan. That was 2014. So I've been here for 6 years now. And it changed my life, man. Changed my life, refocused me. I've opened like 3 or 4 businesses here. I started an app, and that app became the #1 app in Japan. I sold that app. So when people say to me, oh, you didn't make it. Yeah, I did. I did. I made it in a lot of ways. I made it time and time again in life. You know what I mean? So that's really what this video is about, man. And none of the features that I do, I disrespect any of those guys. And if I did, I might have been just at a young point in my YouTube career, like Joe Forte. Joe Forte, salute, man. I have nothing but respect for your game, for what you've done. I just didn't like the way you play, bro. That's fine. A lot of you gonna watch this and you're gonna say I'm trash. I don't care, man. Like, I don't care. I know what's not trash, and I'm not gonna boast and brag on here, but yeah, like, there's no disrespect. Even if it was negative, we still had some kind of back and forth, and that meant a lot to me. Salute to Joe Forte. I'm doing this YouTube thing. I'm doing these videos. I care about the young hoopers, and I don't want them to go the way that I did. I want to give them guidance I didn't have. I want to make sure that they're putting in the effort. They're putting in the work. They're understanding their game, so they won't be in the gym as a 6'6" power forward trying to do post moves. No. I don't care what size you are. You should be working on your dribbling moves. You should be working on your shooting, because that's where the game is going, man. All that back to the basket, unless you're 7 foot and you're big like that, all that back to the basket, that's out. So I just want to guide people. I watched the NBA all the time. I watch basketball, period. And I have a good understanding for where I think it's going to go and what I think players need. Like I said, I've always been a teacher. I've always could tell you what you should do better than I could do it. So that's what I do today, you know. I help a lot of kids. I train, I coach, and I'm good at it. I love it. And that's what I do with these videos. I just want to show people what they shouldn't be doing, also what you should be doing, because I didn't have that. I didn't have that guidance at all. So that's why I love doing these videos. I love creating. I think I've found my path finally, and it didn't have anything to do with me playing basketball, and that's awesome. That's awesome, because that's who I've always been, a person that could show you how to do it. And I could not even live through you because I'm living my own life and I have a great life. But I could see you doing your thing and know that I helped you. And that's fine with me. That feels great. All of you that send me DMs and send me comments like, man, your videos helped me, or your videos are some of the best on YouTube and this and that, man. I love that. I love that, and I appreciate every one of you guys. Like I said, I had 30 subscribers one time, and I don't have a lot now. I have 30,000, and I'm proud of that, man. I worked really hard. If you go back and you look at my videos, I started 2 years ago. I opened my channel in March of 2018. I didn't put my first video until June of 2018. And from June 2018, I haven't missed a drop. When I say that, I mean, like, at first I was going every day. I was putting out a video every day. And then I was doing twice a week. And then I started to do 3 a week. Sometimes I do every day, just if I want to engage, you know. So, but I've been consistent. You know, I've been consistent because I love to do this, and I want to be the best at it. Honestly, I want to be the best basketball YouTuber. I look at guys like Jimmy High Roller. Salute to Jimmy. Mike Korzemba, I think that's how you say his name. B-Ball Daily, I think is his name. He was like the first YouTuber to shout me out. I look at those guys and I feel I'm better. I just feel I'm better. I've played this game at high levels. I didn't even tell you about Japan. So I got the opportunity to play in the BJ League in Japan. I played there for a year. The team that I was playing for, they folded. So after that, I was trying to get with other teams, but being 6'3" here without a real solid college resume, it's difficult because in Asia, a lot of the guards are short. All the guards are short. And there's a limit to how many foreigners you can have on your team. So everyone is trying to pick up tall guys, big guys. So if they got big guys over there, to be competitive, you have to pick up a big guy as well. So they're picking up like big men, a lot of big, small forwards, and you rarely see a foreign point guard here. So I just decided at some point, man, I don't care. I have other dreams. I have other things that I want to accomplish, and I'm going to begin doing that. And like I said, I got into a lot of other things. They became successful, and I'm living a happy life. But anyway, I look at all these YouTubers, and I've played the game before at high levels. I know the game. This was my life. I didn't just get into this because I was a video major in college, and I just decided YouTube was a way to make money. No, this is what I do. Basketball is my life. Basketball opened every single door for me. So I love doing this, and I thank all you guys for watching, man. JC was never trash. I put that on any one of you. I'll face any one of you right now, and I'll win, and I guarantee you I'll win. Salute to my man Troy Bell. He's one of the best college basketball players that I've ever seen. But he old now. He old. He ain't got it. He ain't got it. So I'll get him. Derek Anderson, he watches the videos too. He old. He ain't got it. Salute to my man Wale. Wale gave me that motivation. He DM'd me and told me that he likes my videos and he watches all the time. Sada Baby as well. He watches the videos. We go back and forth sometimes. Salute to all the real, man. Salute to all the real. A lot of these guys, I hit them up to do a feature or do an interview with them, and they act big time. They leave you on scene, and I'm like, even Troy Bell, he was like, why wouldn't guys answer and want to help you with the story if it's going to be about them? Why wouldn't they want that? And that's how I feel. Why wouldn't you want that? But see, guys think they're too big. But anyway, that's what's happening now. I'm trying to stay consistent, man. I'm working every day, and I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for paying attention, for always interacting. And yeah, that's my Stunted Growth story, man. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.
This a letter to my father. This a letter to my father. This a letter to my father. If I die, know that I still love you. This a letter to my father. Yes, sir. This a letter to my father. Yes, sir. This a letter to my father. If I die, know that I still love you. If I could rewind time, I would take it back to the date, late 80s. It was crazy, mom about to have a baby, little bundle of joy. You got a girl, now boy, you need to step up, nigga. Stick your neck up, nigga. Shit, I understand, everybody mess up, nigga. Ain't nobody perfect, you ain't gotta fess up, nigga. You about to leave, all I ask is that you check up, nigga, so I can catch up with you and send a couple pictures when you get to where you going. I hope the weather nice, I hope it ain't snowing. It gets cold in Freeport, I guess. I think it snowed on that day you left. Me and my big sister, I was her baby brother. How could you leave my mama? You was her baby father. You was her baby daddy. She thought that would make you happy, but all along you were scared of being a pappy. I ain't happy, but I feel you, dawg. So call me back, leave a message saying, son, I hope you get this. Write it in some letters I can understand. Show me you could be a man, so I can tell my son about you. It's all good, boy, it's all good. Even though I left you, boy, it's still hood. I got to thank God I am who I should. If I could change that, don't know that I would. Let me talk to you.
This a letter to my father. This a letter to my father.
I ain't mad.
This a letter to my father.
I love you.
If I die, know that I still love you.
But I am what I am.
This a letter to my father.
Yes, sir.
This a letter to my father.
Yes, sir.
If I die, know that I still love you.
Me too. My hat costs 100,000. Guess what I paid for the shoes? My shirt costs $1 million. My pants cost $1 million too. What I speak can't pay for. What I dream I can't wait for.